The Great Housing Reset is officially here, and while that phrase is making headlines nationally, I want to tell you exactly what it means for Henderson. Because what's happening in our market right now is not the same story playing out in Austin or Nashville or coastal Florida. If you own a home in Henderson, especially if you've been thinking about moving up, pay close attention to this video because the data I'm about to walk you through changes the math on your decision.
I'm Chruszhet Hydron. I've lived in Las Vegas for over 40 years. Welcome to my channel, where local insight meets real guidance.
I've lived in Las Vegas and Henderson for over 40 years. I've watched this city grow from the desert floor into one of the most in-demand markets in the country. I've seen the booms, the corrections, the recovery cycles that followed. And what I can tell you with confidence is that I haven't seen a setup like this for move-up buyers in a very long time. Before we get into it, if you caught my last video, I went hyper-local on the Henderson market. We went through the neighborhoods, the price points, and if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out after this one. It's going to give you even more context for what we're going to talk about today. In this video, I'm tying the national conversation to what's actually happening on the ground here. I'm going to break down what the Great Housing Reset actually means, walk you through Henderson's real numbers right now, and then, most importantly, show you the specific opportunity that exists for someone selling a home in the $600,000 range and looking to move up to the $1.2 million market. Let's get into it. What is the Great Housing Reset and why Henderson is different? Let me start with the term because if you've seen it in the headlines and weren't quite sure what it meant, I'm going to break it down for you right now. The phrase Great Housing Reset comes from Redfin. They put it at the center of their 2026 National Housing Forecast, and it's been picked up by economists, analysts, and financial media ever since. But what does it actually mean? To understand the reset, you have to understand what we're resetting from. Do you remember the highest and best offer? So cast your mind back to 2020, 2021, and 2022. The pandemic hit, the Fed dropped interest rates to historic lows. We're talking 3% on a 30-year mortgage. Suddenly, everyone could afford more home than they ever thought possible. And at the same time, nobody was selling. Inventory dried up overnight, so you had massive buyer demand, almost no supply, and cheap money fueling the whole thing. The result? Well, home prices went absolutely vertical. In some markets, values jumped 20, 30, even 40% in 2 years. It was the most compressed, most aggressive run-up in modern real estate history. Then, in 2022 and into 2023, the Fed started raising rates to fight inflation. Mortgage rates went from 3% to 7.5%, and even touching 8% at the peak. And the market froze. Sellers who locked in those 3% rates didn't want to give them up, so they stayed put. Buyers who ran the numbers at 7% couldn't make it work, so they sat out too. What you had was a standoff, both sides waiting for the other to blink. That standoff is what we've been living in. So the Great Housing Reset is the slow, gradual unwinding of that tension. It's not a crash. Let me be very clear about that. This is not 2008. There are no mass foreclosures on the horizon. There's no wave of distressed properties about to flood the market. The fundamentals are different. People who bought homes in the past 5 years are sitting on equity and not debt. The banking system is not over-leveraged the way it was back then. What is happening is a normalization, a long, gradual exhale after years of the market holding its breath. Here's the core of what the reset actually means, and this is the number I want you to remember. For the first time since the Great Recession era, income growth is now outpacing home price growth. Let me say that again. Wages are rising faster than home prices are rising. That means slowly but surely affordability is coming back into the picture. It's not dramatically, okay, not overnight, but the direction has shifted. So nationally, home prices are expected to grow about 1% in 2026. 1%. That is essentially flat. For comparison, prices were growing at double-digit percentages just a few years ago. Mortgage rates are holding in the 6.3 to 6.8% range. I know that's high by recent memory, but the trend line is pointing slowly downward. And here's the thing, buyers are adjusting. Life doesn't wait for a perfect rate. Families are growing, careers are changing, and people are deciding that the next chapter requires a different home whether rates are at 6% or 3%. This reset is expected to play out over years, not months. It's a long normalization cycle, and that matters because it means the window doesn't slam shut next Tuesday. But it also means waiting for some magical moment when everything lines up perfectly. You may be waiting for a very long time. Now, here is where the Henderson story diverges from the national narrative, because the reset doesn't affect every market equally, not even close. Markets that went the most extreme in the pandemic era, which is like cities like Austin, Nashville, coastal Florida, those are the ones feeling the most pressure right now. There's oversupply, high insurance costs, sellers taking losses in some zip codes, and those markets overshot and they're paying for it. Henderson is a fundamentally different animal. We have continued in-migration from California and the Pacific Northwest. Our job market is stable. We have no state income tax pulling buyers our direction, and our inventory, while it has grown, and I'll show you the exact numbers in a moment, is still far from oversupplied. Henderson is projected to see 2.2 to 3% appreciation this year. That's still growth. In a reset year when the national number is 1%, we're outperforming the reset. We're in it, but we're positioned well within it. And for a move-up buyer, that distinction is everything. Henderson's numbers right now, let me give you the actual data. The median home price in Henderson right now is sitting at around $577,000 based on Q1 2026 data. Prices are essentially flat year over year, which after the run-up we saw coming out of the pandemic is actually a healthy sign. Days on market, there's 66 days. That matters. A year ago, homes were moving faster. That extra time on market means buyers have room to breathe. It means sellers have to be competitive. It also means the frantic wave everything, no inspection energy of 2021 and 2022 is gone. Months of supply has jumped from 1.5 last year to 2.67 right now. That's nearly a full month of additional supply added in 1 year. That is a significant shift in market conditions. Now, here's what gets really interesting when you start looking at luxury segment. The $1 million and above market, valley-wide luxury inventory is up 22% year over year. There are over 1,100 active listings above $1 million right now across the Las Vegas Valley. And so what does that mean? It means that if you're a buyer at that price point, you have options. You have negotiating power. You can include contingencies. You can ask for repairs and concessions. That market is behaving like a buyer's market right now. Let me give you some community level context. Seven Hills, median right around 1.1 million with 46 active homes on the market. We have Anthem Country Club with a median closer to 2 million, 33 homes available. McDonald Highlands, the median is at 3.8 million with 120 active listings. Escaya, homes is sitting at an average of 87 days on market. That's 87 days. That is leverage in your pocket as a buyer. The under $700,000 market is more competitive, but above $1 million, you're operating with more room, more time, and more negotiating power than this market has offered in years. Now I want to talk directly to the person who owns a home in Henderson right now worth somewhere around $600,000 and has been thinking about upgrading. Maybe the kids have grown, maybe you need an office, maybe you've just hit a point in your career where the home needs to reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Here is the mathematical reality of this moment. On the sell side, your $600,000 home is sitting in a competitive segment. The mid-market in Henderson still has buyer demand. Price it right, present it well, and you move it. On the buy side, the $1.2 million market has inventory. It has days on market. It has sellers who've been waiting. That is a buyer's market, which means you walk into that purchase with leverage. You're selling into a competitive market and buying into a favorable one. That combination doesn't always exist, and right now it does. Now let's talk about the rate conversation because I know it's on everyone's mind. We are at 6.3 to 6.8%. I get it, that's not the 3% rate some of you locked in a few years ago, but here's how I want you to think about this. Income growth is now outpacing home appreciation for the first time since the Great Recession. That's the reset. That's the window. If you wait for rates to come down to 5%, and they do, what do you think happens to the price of that $1.2 million home you're eyeing? More buyers enter the market, more competition, prices go up. You're not fighting the rate forever. You're buying the home. Rates change, you refinance, the home is yours. And at that 2.2 to 3% projected appreciation locally, the longer you wait, the further that home moves away from you. All right, you're convinced opportunity is real. What do you actually do? We have 5 action steps. Let's run through them. Step 1, get your current home's value dialed in. I mean, really dialed in, not Zillow's number, not what your neighbor sold for 2 years ago. Get a real comparative market analysis from someone who knows the Henderson market. Your equity position is the foundation of this entire move. Step 2, know your buying power before you fall in love with the home. Get pre-approved. Understand what your monthly payment looks like at current rates at your target price point. Know your numbers going in. The worst thing you can do is find your dream home and then discover the math doesn't work. Step 3, use the buyer's market leverage on your purchase. In the 1 million plus segment right now, you can ask for concessions. You can include a home inspection. You can negotiate closing costs. Contingencies are back on the table, so use them. Step 4, explore bridge strategies. You don't necessarily have to sell your current home first. There are bridge loan solutions and simultaneous buy-sell programs that let you purchase first, then sell, removing the pressure of coordinating 2 closings perfectly. Talk to your lender about what's available. This is a real option in today's market. And if you're caught in the situation where you do have to sell first, that is still an option and that is possible. I've helped my clients do that many times. Step 5, pick your community with purchase. 87 days on market in Eskaya, 47 days in McDonald Highlands, 37 days in Anthem Country Club. Those numbers tell you where you have the most room to negotiate. Go in informed. Look, the great housing reset doesn't mean the market is broken. It means it's normalizing. And in a normalizing market, the buyers who move with information and intention are the ones who win. If you're sitting on a home in Henderson right now, built up equity, a life that's asking for more space, and a market that's finally giving you leverage on the other side, this is your window. The reset is here. Henderson is stable. The luxury market has inventory and room to negotiate. And the data says that waiting costs you more than acting. If you want to run your specific numbers, your home's current value, and what you can buy and how the timing could work, reach out to me directly. That conversation is free, it's real, and it'll give you clarity. Link is in the description, and if this video was helpful, hit that subscribe button. Every week, I break down the Henderson and Las Vegas market with the kind of data and local context you're not going to find anywhere else. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.